Rob on the mic, spitting truth from the heights. Queens unite under stadium lights. Bright nights, 7 train rides. Dreams born in the real hum. Brooklyn to Queens, yeah, we all about that outcome. This our time, this our cheer. Mets talk loud, bring the hype, make it clear. From the boroughs to the field, this our year. Queens in the house, let the world hear. From Flushing Meadows, echoes bounce off the bat. Rob calls, take the mic, snaps like a thunderclap. Home runs over bridges, no gaps in the story. Mets rise, reclaiming the glory. 7 the city, blue and orange army swarm. Summer vibe electric, love in every form. From Biggie's blocks to Flushing's heartbeat. Our anthem loud, no retreat. This our time, this our cheer. Mets talk loud, bring the hype, make it clear. From the boroughs to the field, this our year. Queens in the house, let the world hear. The apple pops in the outfield, city of dreams. Rob's voice over static, Mets on every stream. White lines mapped out the future, vividly. From shade to city, the journey's never gimmicky.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to Mets Talk Live right here on the channel with a couple of guys that you guys well know of across YouTube. Hayden and Hector is here. And boy, I cannot wait to destroy this team. And I know all of us are ready to get after it and talk about this embarrassment of a 16-game stretch for the New York Mets as they've lost 13 out of the last 16. They got embarrassed against the Pirates, one of the worst teams in baseball. It was going to be there, let alone watching it on TV. But let's say what up to the guys and get into it. Heck, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. How you doing? That's a nice intro you got going there, man. Good stuff.
Yeah. Hayden, what's up, man?
Yeah, what's going on? Mets Talk with Hayden here. Yeah, definitely let the fireworks begin. There's going to be a lot of negative, and I guess there's some positive in anything. So we'll go over all that. And yeah, LFGM.
Yeah, the positive is we still support this team somehow, some way. I guess that's the only positive at the moment. You know, at home, on the road, it doesn't matter. We support this team. And, you know, look, we all got to we're all frustrated, right? We all have our own problems with the team. The offense is still a problem. The pitching has become a major problem now, and it's just all crumbling down rather quickly. Is this rock bottom? Sure. For this season, it is rock bottom. You know, we were worst last year at this point, but, you know, we had Grimace and the Haktua girl, and it was so much fun, and OMG. So, you know, we had stuff to worry about other than the games, and then it all came together in, you know, a good atmosphere. But talent ultimately prevails. And, you know, with the inconsistencies of the offense, the pitching falling apart, injuries happening, there's so many things with this team that we all have problems with. And we can blame all the players all we want, right? We can definitely do that. But I'm going to start with the pitching only because that has been my pet peeve from the beginning of the season. It's not something that I just brought up because they suck now. It's not true. I've been saying it from the offseason. I've been saying it to the beginning of the year on opening day in Houston while I was in a hotel room sweating my ass off. The fact of the matter was, when you go the cheap pitching route, you got to hope for a lot of reclamation projects to work out. You're hoping that you get a very high value for low risk money-wise and years-wise. I understand the concept. I understand the plan. I understand not spending all this money and years on pitching isn't the best business sense, but is it the best baseball sense? Because last time I checked, a $4.5 million guy got hurt in Griffin Canyon. Kodai Senga hurt 2 out of the last 3 years. You got multiple guys, you know, Shomania, who, you know, it's hard to say he was not going to get injured. I said it from the beginning of the year. I thought he was going to be injured, even in the offseason. He changed his mechanics. A lot of these pitchers, their bodies don't adjust quickly enough to what they're trying to do, especially with all the innings he threw as well. So the cheap aspect of bargain basement in the pitching department And again, not saying that Corbin Burns would have worked out. He might have got hurt with the Mets. Who knows? Max Free, anybody. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, name me a team that made it win the World Series that had pitching staffs that had a 90% reclamation project or a pitching staff in the bullpen, in the rotation combined. It's hard to say that it works. And you know what? David Stearns didn't have to worry about that. Why? Because he had Woodruff. He had Burns. So it was easy to, outcast and outsource everything else you needed with the pitching because you had your aces. We don't have an ace. Hector, a couple of weeks ago, I had you on the show. What did I tell you? I asked you, Game 7, playoffs, who do you trust? At the time, it was David Peterson. He was pitching like an ace, right? But who is it? Everybody said every other name in this rotation. You know why? Because we don't have an ace. Sean Manaea healthy is not an ace. I'm sorry to tell everybody that and burst everybody's bubble, but he's probably a very good pitcher at best, which is fine. But when he hasn't pitched yet, you can't believe in that. You can't trust in that. You don't have anybody you can trust. And I'm not saying anybody's going to go out there and you have 100% confidence they're going to win you a ball game. But there's always a pitcher that a fan base would say, you know what, 90% would say that guy. Why? Because that's why you have a top line starter. You have an ace. I know people don't care about that a lot in baseball anymore, but look at the teams that are doing well. They have better pitching staffs, way better pitching staffs. And they're falling apart because the starting pitching all season have not gone deep into games. That has been a problem because it hurts the bullpen, regardless of who you have in the bullpen. Reclamation projects, guys that you're paying a lot of money to, doesn't matter. But no bullpen, I don't care how good they are. When you get overused before the All-Star break, by the way, they're going to have problems. And they're having problems in the month of June. Not even 4 months into the season. We didn't even get to the All-Star break. We didn't even get to the trade deadline. And they all look gassed. Their pitches are flat most of the time. They're giving up bombs to, barely major leaguers on the Pirates. It was embarrassing how they beat us around 30-4. It's absolutely embarrassing. So overall, this team sucks right now. Now, is it doom? No. We're a game and a half out of first place. We're in a playoff spot right now, right? It could be a lot worse. We could be back to last year, right? So I'm not saying this team is buried, done, all that, but we do know that this team has a lot to do in the clubhouse. They got to figure it out. But this is David Stearns putting this team together. So this is his fault. And it's going to be his problem in about a month when he's doing his sitting on his ass, not putting on his big boy pants and being as passive aggressive where, bringing out, Love Lady, he had to give him a major league deal. Why not? Because you don't have good pitchers. So you got to bring up all these guys with different options that are going to wait for other teams. And we're picking up the garbage here and hoping it works. That is the biggest problem that everybody is having. And now today, we are only 11 games over 500. We're 13 out of 16 we lost. And it doesn't seem like there's any positivity in sight. Now, we hope there is. But that's why I brought you guys here today to talk about it. Hector, I want to start with you first. What are you feeling? How are you feeling right now, man?
Not good. Not good. I don't know if you saw me laughing, but I think this post that I just saw on X by Mauricio City sums it down. I'll give him a shout out because I'm cracking up. And he's responding to the Mets post that says fireworks, block parties in the Subway Series. Get to City Field this homestand. And he goes, bought tickets for July 4th for me and my girlfriend last month. Shit feels like a waste of $500 right now. Fucking team thinks like my morning shits. And I think that really narrows it down, man. It's such a different feeling. And yeah, last time we spoke, there were things that we raised some concerns and stuff. Even as you were watching this team early on, you knew, okay, the offense, the running the scoring position, but we felt like that was going to get better, right? We felt like that was going to get better. We knew that the pitching staff was probably not going to be able to sustain what they were doing because we already came in, like you said, without a real ace. Some can say it's Kodai Senga, some can say Sean Manaea, but Shamanaya, I don't know if we can count on him being that level of pitcher. Kodai Senga, we can never count on being healthy. So we were already precarious. You start the season with Manaya not even being involved. Montas, not that anybody had any high expectations, doesn't start the season also. Starts the season also on the IL. So you knew that there was going to be some regression.
Yep.
Now, what you're always hoping for is that you can get through a season with as little injury as possible.
Sure.
Unfortunately, we suffered all of these injuries at the same time to the pitching staff, and that hasn't helped. So you've had the regression, you've had the injury. Look how crazy it is. That I thought about this morning. Because as you have here, we got Holmes, Tidwell, and David Peterson going against Milwaukee. That leaves, I don't even know who the hell it leaves for this weekend. The point is, wouldn't we all sign up for Tyler McGill to be one of those guys pitching this weekend? This is how bad it's gotten.
Yeah.
That we could use Tyler McGill right now. As much as we complain about Tyler McGill and his one meltdown inning, at least he was going out there and giving us a major league start more often than not. So I don't feel good right now. Yeah, George, like George said, I think George said a little while ago in the comments, shout out to everybody, in the comments and all that. He says, I still believe in his team. I still believe in his GM. I still believe in his ownership. I believe. But like you said, David Stearns needs to start showing something.
Yeah.
This is David Stearns now. Yes, you're right. Inside the clubhouse, they need to figure it out. The guys here need to perform better. But even at their best, this is not a World Series team.
I agree.
David Stearns has the ability to make this a World Series team. So how do I feel right now? I feel like I need to see David Stearns do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about sooner rather than later. I don't want to hear about the trade deadline. I understand. I know. Especially with the wild card now, the whole league is still involved. Even the White Sox don't want to give up at this point, right? Because they think there's still a chance. I'm exaggerating. But you're supposed to be the genius, right? Boy wonder, whatever the hell everybody wants to call him. You're this great front office guy. Well, go out there and force somebody into trading you someone. Make them think that they called you because you convinced them so bad. Again, we wanted to trade this back to the Mets a long time ago. Do something. Because this team needs something. You want to come into the season telling us, and like you, I understand. I appreciate the philosophy of not going big on pitches. Whether it be years, money not so much, because damn it, I kept being told that this billionaire owner, money wasn't going to be an object. Go spend that damn money then. I don't give a damn about Steve Cohen's money if it ain't helping me win the baseball. He ain't my uncle. But you want to come in the year talking about, and I appreciate the philosophy and all that.
Yeah.
You want to tell me you believe in the guys that you have here, even in the minors and some of these young guys. You got to see some of these young guys. Well, start calling them up then.
Yeah, I 100%.
And not these dudes that have been trying to hang on to their minor league career like a Blake Tidwell. Enough of that nonsense. Enough of the dick love ladies and all of this crap. And people want to get, David Stearns don't play no game. You don't get the job done, he waives you. No, it's because he's signing these reclamation projects or whatever the hell you want to call them. They can't get the job done, and now you need another arm, so you got to get rid of them. That's bad management, in my opinion.
It is.
You're wasting money doing that. So this weekend surprised us, man. I keep seeing how McClain and both McClain and Tom are in line to pitch Wednesday in the minors. Hold them back. Give them a start Friday against the Yankees. I don't give a damn.
I agree.
You might say, "Oh man, that's a tough spot to bring him in," but you're bringing in these scrubs anyways. Who the hell's gonna have any hope or any faith in the Paul Blackburn right now going against the Yankees?
Yeah.
Not me. And I've been trying to be positive. I've been trying to talk people off the ledge. I've been trying to be rational. Like, yo, we're good. I can't right now. So I feel terrible, bro.
Yeah. And, it's interesting because, Stearns, every time he does an interview, when they talk about the farm system, they talk about the pitch and how important they are in the farm system. Isn't this the perfect opportunity to bring him up over the last couple of weeks instead of trying Blackburn again? I understand Montage, you gave a lot of money to, so I understand him going back in the rotation. That makes sense. He was part of this rotation. But Blackburn was a fringe rotation guy. He was going to be a long man in the bullpen, if that. Bring these kids up. Like, what are we waiting for at this point, right? Are they going to help this team or they're not going to help this team? I don't care about 2026. I know with Stearns, that's his job. I understand that's his job. I understand that. But your job is also to win this year too, right? You don't spend $765 million on Soto, $30 million on Pete Alonso. And somebody brought up a good point. You don't buy a Lamborghini and put bad tires on it. That's exactly a great point that somebody put in the comments. It's 100% true. You can't you can't go cheap on expensive products like a Lamborghini and put shit tires on it and go 100 miles an hour and think they're going to hold up. That's a perfect example. Great example. I forgot who said it. I do apologize if I can't find it, but it's so true, right? We have a Lamborghini, right? We got the engine. We got Pete Alonso as the engine, Soto the car, and we got Blackburn as the tires. We got Lovelady as a tire. We got how many backups are playing for this team on our roster? Because prospects are failing. Alvarez, where is he right now? Oh, AAA. Great. So Stearns, who is getting exposed now as a starting catcher, he's a great backup catcher, right? That's what he's here for. Alvarez was supposed to be the starter, right? I wasn't expecting to hit 270, but give me some damn home runs. He can't even do that, right? Tyrone Taylor was supposed to be our very good fourth outfielder. 2 years in a row. Now he's a starter because why? Jose Siri got hurt and there's nobody better. Last year, Bader couldn't handle it. And Tyrone Taylor took over the job. Now, I love Tyrone Taylor, but he's getting exposed at the plate. He's getting exposed because he is a starting center fielder on a bad team. The Mets got him to be a fourth outfielder. Nimmo, again, was supposed to be a center fielder. And, a year after his contract, got his big contract. Now he's getting paid as a center fielder, as a left fielder now. Whatever. It is what it is. But this is the problem. Vientos, shell of himself. You know how many Met fans in Pittsburgh were like, I'm done with Vientos? That's how much people don't like Mark Vientos. They think he's a one-hit wonder. And you know what? I'm not going to go that far, but I said it on my video earlier that I did the State of the Mets on. Why is it okay for Mets fans and baseball fans to talk about one-hit wonders on other teams and say, oh, he was a one-hit wonder, only had one good year, and then he's a shell of himself. He's not that good. But when we say it about Mark Vientos, it's like, whoa, you can't say that. Why not? Right? Is it the injury? All right, I'll give him a little bit of time. I think that's fair. But his at-bats over this weekend were just as bad as they were in the beginning of the year when he was healthy. They had the same problem. That has nothing to do with injury. That has to do with planning and setting up and what you got to do to prepare to be a hitter at the plate. He's swinging at that slider still. He's not going after the fastball and being aggressive like he was last year. Those high fastballs that he used to knock over the fence, he's behind. He's getting under. And then when he does get to that slider, he hits it on the ground, and we know he ain't going to beat it out, even though he did one in Pittsburgh. So there's your issue. You got multiple backups playing. You got a third baseman who you thought was supposed to be our third baseman for the future, and everybody was okay with it because he proved it last year, and he got the opportunity. Second base, big hole. Now, McNeil hasn't been great, but he's been better than Beatty and Acuna, and look where Acuna is now. He's in the minors. Beatty is almost on his way out. So we got a backup center fielder, a backup catcher, no third baseman, no second baseman, and our rotation's falling apart and our bullpen's falling apart. And now we need, instead of, like a normal good team that might need a bullpen arm and maybe a bat or a starter at the deadline, maybe two things, we need about five. And good luck with Stearns doing all that because he probably won't. Because, we got to protect our farm system. Hayden, sorry I ranted for a long time after Hector, but
all good.
Opinions.
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up great, is that the players are getting exposed. And I mean, grab your popcorn, everyone. This team looks like horseshit. I don't think I've ever seen a group of 27 losers on a field get exposed so bad against one of the worst and the cheapest team in Major League Baseball. I mean, brutal. This weekend, I think it was the first time ever where I shut off all 3 games, probably in the 3rd or 4th inning. I said, yeah, I'm done. And I didn't even bother to look back at the MLB app. It's been brutal. And, when it comes to who to blame, there's this person, there's that person, there's them. It's like a pizza pie. There's so many slices and everyone's to blame. Some slices are bigger than others. Hence, some people get more blame than the other. Obviously, it comes down to the players, number one, right? They're the ones going out there. These are talented players. These are proven, to an extent, players. These aren't some random Jared Young bums that have never played before. Francisco Lindor has played baseball before. Mark Vientos, he's proven before. Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, Jeff McNeil. I mean, this rotation has proven it to an extent before. David Peterson and Tyler McGill. But when it comes down to the rotation, I mean, you took a high risk for a high reward, and you had that high reward for about 2 months, and now you stayed at the gambling table too long and you lost it all. Listen, I get it. The Senga injury was unfortunate. McGill got hurt. Canning with the Achilles. But you invested in a rotation that was not projected to, statistically was not great. And a lot of people, including myself, said, oh, but look at last year with Quintana and Severino and Manaea, and they did the job done, and you were hoping that you would get that success back-to-back years. Some different candidates, obviously, instead of Severino, maybe like Canning. And I mean, really the one person who's really panned out and hasn't slowed down a little bit, the home runs have been there, some of the hard contact with Clay Holmes. But as of right now, I would consider that a decent start so far. I mean, very rare that you see a career reliever turn into a starter and have the success that he's had. So knock on wood, fingers crossed he stays that way. But the rotation, I mean, the pitching overall has just been brutal now. Now we're seeing the consequences of that. We're seeing them, get into the second half of the season almost, and they're maybe not capable of it. And the bullpen overtaxed. I mean, they were used so much in May and in June in the last couple of weeks because starters were only going 4 or 5 innings, and then you have to rely on a bullpen for another half of the game. Brazzerbot, I mean, he looks cooked. I mean, he's walking the ballpark. He's lost all command of the strike zone. Reed Garrett's still been fine, but now we're coming to the point where injuries are, AJ Minter's not here anymore. He's hurt. So we're calling up these coupon caliber guys, and Dick Lovely, who? I've never heard of him. Like, I mean, this is pathetic. I thought this was the highest payroll, richest owner in baseball right here, and we're calling up guys who are scrubs. I mean, this is pathetic. The Athletics, the White Sox, the Rockies. And say what you want about the pitching. I'll leave a little bit of that because you, Rob and Heck, you kind of covered the point on the pitching. So I'll just be repeating, what you said. But the pitching has been brutal. The offense has been very, very bad. And, not to go on Steve Cohen's rant, but, when he tweeted out today, oh, the hitting with runners in scoring position, that'll change. Will it? Since the beginning of the season, April, May, June, we're going into July. We're going into the 4th month of the season. They haven't hit with runners in scoring position all season. I mean, I think we're like 29th in MLB with hitting and runners in scoring position. So I think we're ahead of probably the Rockies or the White Sox. So congratulations if that's their accomplishment. Brutal at bats. I mean, the offense, I've never seen a Major League Baseball team take so many fastballs down the middle. I mean, I don't know what approach they have with runners in scoring position. I don't know what goes through their head. I don't know if it's a fundamental thing. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if it's a small ball versus line drive, what type of contact they want, but it looks brutal. I mean, Lindor obviously is definitely we're seeing the injury of the toe maybe affecting him, or he's going through a bad slump. I don't know. I'm not Lindor, so I can't speak for him. But he looks off. Nimmo, McNeil, they're fine, I guess. Good for them. Soto's been great, which I don't care. He's been great because what does it do for me? I mean, what does it do for the Mets? He hits a solo shot and he walks 3 times. The Mets are losing 10-1. What difference does it make? Alonso's been whatever. But that's 6 through 9. Brutal. Beatty's hit or miss. It's like a coin. Beatty's like flipping a coin. He'll have a brutal game or he'll have a good game. Vientos has been horrible. I mean, he's a person who I hate to write off, but I mean, his at-bats look abysmal. Mauricio's whatever. Terrens, I mean, we get 0 production from our catcher, which 5 years later, and, we're still talking about that. Starling Marte, yeah, where's everyone defending him now? He sucks. I mean, yeah, and it really is unfortunate. And, the offense is definitely to blame a lot because who on the offense is hurt? Besides Jesse Winker, what guys are hurt? Yeah, the pitching, you can make the case. McGill, Canning, Senga. Who on the offense? Okay, besides Jose Siri, but he's not a big offensive contributor anyways. Who on the offense is hurt besides Jesse Winker? And we all know Jesse Winker doesn't carry a team. I mean, yeah, maybe it's less bats for Starling Marte and one other unfortunate player, but these guys we're not getting the job done. It's as simple as that. And I think the players get a big blame. I think David Stearns gets a huge blame. He went into the season and tried to pull this, ooh, look at me, I'm from a small market. I'm going to be cheap, even though I have the richest owner in baseball, blah, 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 blah. And I mean, look at this. We're getting destroyed by the Pittsburgh Pirates by players who, I don't even know who they are. I mean, this team looks defeated. And like you said, love the term. They're getting exposed. Tyrone Taylor sucks. Luis Torrens sucks. I mean, 6 through 9 in this lineup is an automatic out. I don't know how you guys feel, but as soon as McNeil, who usually bats 5, gets out, I'm like, damn it, now we have to wait an inning or 2. I mean, that really goes through my head every single time because does anyone here really have confidence in Beatty, Mauricio, Vientos, Terrens, Hayden Sanger, who no, not at all.
Yeah.
And then it's for whatever reason, whenever they go down to AAA, they're like Barry Bonds. I mean, I go on Twitter. Alvarez went 2 for 4 today. Luis Angel Acuna went 3 for 4 today. What is it? Are they mediocre baseball? Are they just good against AAA pitching? Is it the hitting? There needs to be some science experiment because this is probably one of the most interesting things that I've ever seen. It sucks.
I'm sorry. You don't hate it.
It sucks.
Sorry about that. When it comes to like the prospects, right, and developing prospect, right? Look at Nimmo. Look at Pete Alonso, right? Pete Alonso was, he was a high prospect, but he wasn't. I mean, it was supposed to be Dominic Smith over Pete Alonso. We all remember that, right? Pete Alonso wasn't supposed to be better than Dominic Smith, right? His defense was terrible. They knew he had power, but it just seemed like he wasn't good enough in their eyes, and it was supposed to be Dominic Smith. Now, clearly they were wrong, and Pete Alonso took it over, but, Pete Alonso eventually won the job. But Brandon Nimmo wasn't a big prospect, right? He came out of nowhere. He was a bench player when he first came up, and then, took over the job in a couple of years later and finally did something. Yeah, McNeil too. Like, so it's not these top prospects. And I'm not saying that, Mauricio can't still work out or, a Jet Williams or a Sproat, whatever, but when you see guys like Alonso, McNeil, Brandon Nimmo that, weren't really highly touted and big time prospects, and they kind of like fell into this team because of injuries, because people were clamoring for them because they had good numbers in AAA, and they got the opportunity and they took advantage of it. So, do I give the Mets credit for that? I don't know. Yes. Okay. Sure. But your top prospects fail way often than not. And, I'm not going to – I can't judge David Stearns yet on these prospects because a lot of them he didn't draft. So I'm not going to kill him on that. But like Hector said earlier, bring these pitchers up. What are we waiting for here? Right? Mania better not be our deadline acquisition because he's coming off the IL. It can't be the case. Like Hector just said, bring up McLean, bring up two of these top prospects, and let him pitch against the Yankees. Right? You got your rotation set for him.
One.
Yeah, give him a chance. Right? They did it with DeGrom many years ago when he pitched against the Yankees. Right? I don't care if it was against the Yankees. It's just a matter of where they're situated to start their next time out, and it just happens to be the Yankees are playing us. Right? I want to see these guys. Maybe you catch lightning in a bottle. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. Who knows? But I'd rather see one of those guys and have the potential of them being good than Blackburn or even McGill for that matter. Even though McGill's hurt, but a Blackburn type that we know is going to give you 4 or 5 innings. Hopefully, and a lot of runs. At least with the young kid, if they give up a lot of runs in 4 or 5 innings, we're like, all right, he's not ready yet. Maybe it was too big for him. But we're not throwing him to the wolves. You send him back to the minors. All right, he needs some more development. Fine. What are we developing for Paul Blackburn here? We know what he is. He's a long man, fringe roster guy, and he shouldn't be in this rotation. But because of the guys they brought in here, right? Griffin Cannon, all right, that was a fluke injury. You can't do anything about it. But even when he was on the mound now, he's pitching to his best ERA that he ever had in his career, which was a 3.99 with the Angels, and he was pitching to a 3.91 prior to getting hurt. So he was basically having a season like his best season of his career, which is okay. It's not great. It's okay. So everybody, it looked like DeGrom got hurt on the mound when Griffin Cannon.
Which is okay though, Rob. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, but
like, it's okay to have a Griffin Cannon if he's your 4th starter.
Correct.
If he's your 5th starter, you know what I'm saying? Well, because let's be honest, we had a bunch of guys that are probably 4 and 5s.
Yeah.
Maybe a low end 3, but they were performing like high end 3s, low end 2s.
Agreed.
Maybe even a high end 2. I'm not gonna say a number 1, right? But they were performing at that level.
Sure.
So yeah, like you said, we knew there was gonna be regression. You know what I'm even thinking about right now? Like even a move that again, some of us were upset about in the off season, and some, we were okay with. I was okay with letting a Jose Quintana go. But man, we could use a Jose Quintana right now. And I forget who it was that said, I've been thinking the same thing. He's going to come and throw 7 shutout innings against us this week.
Oh, 100%.
You just know that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But
I don't think Stearns knows.
Even when Hayden was talking about bringing these guys in, right? And last year we did it with Manaea. We did it with Severino. We did it. But even then, even a Quintana who was already here, it's not like you bring him in. He was already here. But those guys that you bring in, even those guys were higher end guys
that did it before.
Than the guys we bring in this year. So it was more realistic to expect a bounce back from a Severino. It was more realistic to expect a bounce back from a Sean Manaea who came on the scene, and everybody's like, wow, who's this guy? This guy's going to be around for years, dominating. So that was a little bit more realistic than
because they did it before.
Yeah, right. Than these guys here. So, I mean, like I said, he took a big gamble, and a lot of the time, he would say, "We believe in what we have, and we got to see some of these guys coming up." Well, let us see them then. Because there's a couple of them are making a very good case to come up here. Hey, listen, maybe not a Brandon Sproul, who we were all high on in the spring and whatever, and oh my gosh, Brandon Sproul's going to be up here early. Some people were even saying he should start the year on the roster. Imagine how that would have worked out the way he's performed at AAA, but who knows? Okay, so Brandon Sproul didn't go down there and force his way up here. But there's 2 other guys that have.
Yep.
Let's go. Didn't we see the Braves throw a guy against us that was making the second start?
Yeah, Fuente.
Right? Then we throw out there, what was it, Pintado, whatever the hell his name is? Then he come from like AA. Well, give me a legit guy. Or maybe, I don't know, when is the cutoff date? Maybe they're worried about starting this guy's clocks. I know some people have thrown that out there, that maybe they're worried about starting their major league clock and they'll wait a little bit longer or whatever. Like, don't play games with us.
Then they don't win. Then you don't want to win. To be
clear. You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
you want to win, or what the hell are you trying to do? Stealing a year? is more important than winning right now. Like Rob said earlier, I don't give a damn about 2026. I understand that you always have to look ahead whenever you make moves and everything and keep the future in mind. And you can't mortgage all of it. But this team is ready, man. I'm not going to tell you, this team can compete for a World Series with the right additions.
Yes.
Yeah.
This team can compete for a World Series. And if you don't believe that, then what the hell are you doing? Then you should have never brought Pete back. No matter what the hell Hector was saying and his blunt thoughts, no matter what Steve Cohen, you should have stood your ground. Because I don't give a damn what nobody says.
Mm-hmm.
Juan Soto and Pete Alonso are New York Mets because Steve Cohen made it so. Not
Agreed.
because David Stearns wanted them.
Yep.
He can tell me all he wants about anybody, any team, and this and that, and who wouldn't want Juan Soto. You wouldn't want Juan Soto. Not for that price. Shit, I don't even want him for that price. But that's a different story. Show me something, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing you have to look at, two interesting points I want to bring up is one with the farm system. And, you know, the Mets farm system, and like I said, it's kind of hard because Stearns isn't really responsible for half of these big prospects. They weren't under him. So it's hard to kind of make a case for him. But, you know, historically, the last couple of years and throughout, you know, the Mets have really never been aggressive when it comes to calling up their prospects and moving them up. You know, they let them sit in AA for a year and then AAA for another year. I mean, Brett Beatty was drafted, 2019?
Mm-hmm.
And we're still talking about him being a Major League Baseball player 6 years later. I mean, that's nuts.
Well, that's more on Brett Beatty than anything, though.
And true. But
too, you know?
I think,
and there was a pandemic that hurt some of these guys.
Yeah, sure, 2020. I guess people can make that case. But, you know, you look now and you see all these teams like the Angels. Logan O'Hoppe gets called up in like 5 months after he gets drafted. Paul Skeens. You looked at the Braves, whatever his name is. And I think, like, I would love for the Mets to do that. You know, give them a chance. What do they have to lose? You know, they're young. So what if they get rocked? You send them down and you deal with them later. And I guess that's the point with the Mets farm system. And then the second point that I really wanted to bring up is, you know, everyone's talking about what are the Mets doing? Why are we sitting back doing nothing? And, you know, it really is exasperating. You know, when people say, oh, you know, Stearns do this at the deadline. Deadline's in a month from now. I mean, you could be. I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
Back in a month, the way the season.
I mean, you know, we have 48 wins. What, a month ago we had like 45, 44? I mean, it's been, I mean, June felt like the worst, longest month of the season. And what are we doing? Make moves now. I don't, you know, you're the richest owner in baseball, richest, all I hear. Oh, better than Jeff Wilpon. Then act like it. Do something. Instead of being the sleepy Sandy Alderson, riding the waves, running through the motions, do something. And, you know, I really wonder how much longer is Steve Cohen going to wait around and ride this out? You know, this is year 5 of his ownership, or 4, whatever. You know, dude who's been very successful in life has not been very successful with the Mets. I mean, I view success off a World Series, not 101 wins and then collapsing and getting swept in the playoffs, whatever. Last year, great run, sure. You know, the Mets went into this year as World Series contenders. Expectations, and, you know, that gets brought up a lot, I see on Twitter now, is the expectations are back on. And what happened? They're not playing good. What happened last year? They went into the season, oh, they're going to win 70 games. They'll be lucky if they get 500. You know, it goes to show you expectations. Can this team handle expectations? And right now, this is a team that if they were to make the playoffs, they're getting swept first round, 100%. But this team is capable, if they add a few candidates to fill in a few holes, whether it's a couple pitching depth, whether it's a center fielder, whether it's a big bat, whatever, then they're capable of being that first round elimination, just skyrocketing into a World Series contender that they were, and everyone performs and tries to be, you know, a World Series contender caliber team. And, you know, it's frustrating to watch. I really don't know. I think it comes to the point where it's now or never. I'm not waiting to the deadline. I mean, the Mets go for it. But yeah, I do something now. I mean, listen, I'm not saying they're gonna, call up Bruce Sherman and say, hey, what's the deal with Sandy Alcantara? But I would like them to try to
No, you do. You do.
do
What you mean,
something,
no?
make a move,
You
something. I
do.
mean, no
You call
glove
everybody,
thing,
damn it.
no,
What is
That's a
stopping?
project worth getting right there. That's a project
Yeah,
worth getting.
that's the
Real
thing.
quick, Rob,
Yeah,
because I think
yeah.
you just said something very important, man. And I hate that I'm feeling about this team again. Because I thought last year they finally learned how to win. I thought Lindor finally grown into being a leader. I gotta see posts every time he gets a hit or anything big about, oh, put the C on his chest. The captain. Where's the captain now? I haven't seen any of those posts right now. Where's the captain now? This is what you gotta show that you're a leader. So now I hate that I am starting to question this core again. What were we doing for years? Questioning whether this core had what it needed to win. If
the
it,
core and
if it knew
expectations.
how to win, if it had the right temperament. And I thought that they had gotten there. But now I'm starting to question that again. When you let a month snowball like this, Peter Alonso's been telling me since spring training, we don't want to be where we were last season. I believe you, Pete, but I'm not seeing that right now. I'm not seeing that right now. So again, now we're wondering, can this team handle expectations and play with expectations hanging over their head? Because yeah, like you said, last year it went off. See, there's the bridge year, nobody cared. Even though there was lunatics like me who didn't want to hear that crap and was out there imploring them every day to play better and win games. But what turned this season around? A meeting where I said it on the round table. I hated it. I hated the mantra of JD Martinez and well, we suck anyway, so let's go have fun sucking. I hated that crap. But that's what that's what it is. Like that's concerning to me.
Well, that's the thing, Heck. Like how I've been saying, how many shows have we all done together where I've said this core for years? Again, 4 of these guys have been together since 2001: Lindor, McNeil, Nimmo, Alonso. Why isn't more people questioning this core? Right? You just did it, Heck. Why isn't more people doing it? Everybody wants to blow Pete Alonso because his home run record and all this fun stuff. Great, we love the guy. I understand, but these guys are the most streakiest hitters, the most inconsistent hitters. It seems like around baseball, the way they are as a combined team, a combined group of core guys. Right? This is the core. The Mets told us by signing Nimmo, by continuing to bring back Pete Alonso, by signing McNeil, and then traded for Lindor, is telling you this is the core they're running with, right? This is all the big contracts, and you know what? Probably Pete Alonso is going to be a long term. So you're talking about guys that the Mets, regardless of what leadership was running this team, Stearns, Epler, all this, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter
Without Pete
is,
Alonso, really? I'm sorry, Rob. I just saw this comment. Without Soto, we probably at sub 500 right now. Really?
it's more Pete
Really?
Alonso.
I don't understand, man. That's another thing. I'm not bad, Rob. That's another thing that's driving me crazy. It's this month of June, and everybody want to go crazy about Juan Soto having this great month of June while the team sucks. There were people when the team was playing well who were miserable because Juan Soto wasn't playing well. Now I was annoyed that he wasn't playing well, but I was happy as hell that we were winning.
Yep.
And again, we knew that we were winning maybe with little smoke and mirrors, and some of it wasn't sustainable. But what we were holding our hope for was, oh my gosh, when Juan Soto heats up, how good is this team going to be? Well, Juan Soto heated up, and it's not his fault. Because yes, the injury to the pitching, the regression in performance has a lot to do with it. But don't give me this. We are, and what I want the word sub 500 team, because that is nonsense.
Agreed.
Even in June, right? And people want to say, oh, Peter Alonso's struggling now, this and that. Even in June, real quick, because I've been looking at this. Robin, you know what I've been doing, guys? and it's gonna take me forever. So I don't have it here. I didn't have it last night for my blunt thoughts. I'm not gonna have an immense talk unfiltered tonight. But I've been going at bat by at bat for Juan Soto in June because I want to see how great this June had. I'm gonna show people how he still had chances to impact the game and he did nothing. Right? Because people want to go crazy with that first game against the Braves. Well, yes, it was a great statement. He hits that home run in the first inning. Boom, 1-0. But then that's it. He comes up later in the game with a chance to tie the game with a hit and does nothing. But people want to tell me it's okay because he hit a home run in the first inning. No, it's not, damn it. In that game, we needed another hit from him. And if he was only going to give me one home run, then keep the one in the first inning and give me the one there where a 3-run home run would have tied the game. Because when you get the hits, matters. When you have 20 home runs or whatever the hell it is, and 16 of solo home runs, that matters. And don't tell me it's because guys are not getting on base in front of him, because that's nonsense. That's lazy. We watch these games. I had this conversation going on all day today because I made a comment on somebody's post about the great month or whatever the hell it was. And I was wondering if he could only hit it with runners in scoring position. Oh, but he's having a great move. June, Hector. He has a 1.196 ERA OPS in June. You don't know how happy I was, guys, that he wasn't able to pass Strawberry for that best record month, whatever. Like, who the hell cares? Okay. Who cares that you set a record for multi-home run games, and that's the most excitement that I've seen from you running around the bases because you set a meaningless record for multi-home run games at the age of 27 or whatever the hell it is. Who cares? Just like I didn't care about Francisco Lindor's 30-30-30, whatever the hell it was, and Pete Alonso hitting 47 home runs in 2023. I don't care about none of that crap now if we're not winning. And you're not impacting winning. You're impacting Juan Soto. And honestly, if you're not helping me win, I could give two shits about Juan Soto. I don't care how long I wanted him on the team.
Yeah. I don't care about
in June, Pete Alonso's had this bad June, right? And Juan Soto had this great June. And Juan Soto's the reason why we're over 500 nonsense. Right? Well, here's Juan Soto's June. 11 home runs, 20 RBIs, right? 322 average, 1196 OPS, like I said, 474 on base versus 722 slugging. Those are numbers that matter, right? 3 doubles. What the hell did Pete Alonso do in June? Pete Alonso, who struggled in June, right? Damn, I just had it right here. Here it goes. 295 average. Is that horrible? I don't expect Pete Alonso to hit 300. I expect Juan Soto to hit 300. Pete hit 295. But everybody want to tell me that Pete's having a bad month. Pete's struggling. 295. A 920 OPS. It ain't over 1,000, but it ain't terrible. And then Pete hits 7 home runs in June and drives in 22 runs. While Juan Soto hits 11, it only drives in 20. Oh, that's because Juan Soto's getting on base in front of Pete Alonso.
Well, that's why the stats always don't tell the whole story, and that's why you have to watch the games, right? Because I talked about it, and you know, this argument you're making with Juan Soto and Pete Alonso are absolutely true, right? That's why when I talked about in years past, when Pete Alonso would, you know, everybody would just look at his numbers and say, "Wow, look at his numbers." What if you didn't have him on this team? Yeah, but look when he hit those home runs. Look when he got those hits. Right, it was a lot of garbage times. It was, and it did the same thing with Juan Soto. A lot of solo home runs, a lot of garbage RBIs that don't impact the game very much. The same thing I was talking about with Pete Alonso. Now, Pete Alonso's doing a great job this year of it, which is a big difference from his entire career. By the way, all right, I tell people to do their homework. Go back for years with Alonso's pad and stats, one in bad years, which is not all his fault, but do those numbers really matter when your team's out of it in July and August? No. Right? And look, Pete Alonso has good numbers in the playoffs. He only's been there twice, but he's had good numbers, right? We know what Soto can do in his career in the playoffs. We'll wait and see if he can do that as a Met. But this is the problem when people bring up the stats. And again, with any player, it doesn't tell the whole story, right? You look at the when we were on ESPN the other day, that's all they talked about was the numbers for Juan Soto. And we all know that it looks good on paper, but when you break it all down and you watch every game, as we all do, we know who's playing well. We know who's getting the job done. Now, collectively as a team, we're runners in scoring position. We all suck, and this goes to show you, heck, and what you just put up with the stats. When one player is hot, it's very hard to win ball games when you're not scoring runs, because you need 2 or 3 of these guys to get hot at the same time. That has been the other big problem with this Mets lineup. Obviously, the 4 core guys we talked about, and now adding Juan Soto, is the fact that they don't. No,
They're consistent.
they're not. Can we?
I agree with you. We'd like to have at least 2 of them going at a time.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna have all 5 hot at the same time, but can we at least have 2, maybe 3 going while a couple? No, they all go cold. And one will be hot. Yeah, and you're not gonna win like that.
Even last year, when we were winning and we were starting to turn it around in late May, early June, right? It was Lindor and it was Vientos. It wasn't Nimmo. It wasn't Alonso. It wasn't McNeil. It was Lindor and Vientos offensively. Nobody else was helping this team. They were driving this offense.
And 5-9 started carrying the load.
Sure, absolutely. But again, if you're going to count on your 5-9, sure, absolutely. But if you're going to count on 5-9 to help you win a lot of ball games, you're going to have a rude awakening at some point, like the Mets are having now, because nobody's stepping up 1 through 4, 1 through 5, and that's the thing. No, when Pete Alonso was red hot, now the Mets were winning. And Alonso had a lot to do with that, but it was the pitching that was dominated. We all understand that. We give a lot of credit to Pete Alonso because he had a lot of big hits, a lot of great numbers, but it was the pitching that won us a lot of those games. It was a lot of close games that pitching was winning. The offense wasn't taking off, right? It was Alonso and all by himself. Lindor got hot was just when Alonso started to have that little bad streak. Lindor was red hot. Now Lindor's cold. Nimmo got hot for 2 weeks. And now Juan Soto's hot. And nobody else is doing anything at all. So this is the problem. They're inconsistent, but when you look at the individual stats at certain times, you can be like, wow, look how great he's in. Look how good they're doing. Go through every one of these guys: Nimmo, Alonso, Lindor, Soto, McNeil.
I just told you something. Like you just said right now, right? Juan Soto is hot, and nobody else is doing anything. But like I just said, Pete hasn't been as bad as people want to say in June. Just recently, we won a game. Who got the two big hits in that game?
It was Pete Alonso. Yes.
Where's that game for Soto?
I agree. 100% agree. 100% agree.
In this hot month.
If you notice this, heck, look at the games when 2 or 3 guys get hot. Is there a game where 2 or 3 guys are just dominating the game? No, it's individual games. Pete Alonso will be dominating game 1. And then Juan Soto will be dominating game 2 when they're both hot. They never do it in the same game, it feels like. Any of these guys. That's the problem. That's the inconsistency.
My point is, like you said,
is the one
Pete Alonso do his damage and then leads to a win. Juan Soto do damage and we lose.
No, that could be circumstance.
Because it shows that.
It shows.
Some of it is. But like you said, we watch the games, man. And this time, and I'm not even asking for home runs. Just give me a hit. You got second and third. Give me a hit. Man on second. Give me a hit. You know what I'm saying? But you know what he's doing in those situations? Runner on second. Juan Soto is batting 143. Runners on second and third, triple O. I mean, that's only 4 plate appearances, but whatever. But in 39 plate appearances with man on second, 35 at bats, 143. Scoring position, 147. Now, what Peter's doing in those situations? Scoring position, 337 average.
Nice.
1150 OPS. While Soto has a 596 OPS scoring position. Feel me? Second and third, Pete 250. First and third, 1,000 batting average. First and third, second, third, 333. Runner at third, Pete's batting 273. Runner at second, 375. You know what Juan Soto's best batting average is? With bases empty. 341. Oh, I'm lying. With a runner on third, he's batting 400. in five
crazy stats. Crazy stats. But you know, heck, this is the thing though, right? And we can look back at it, right? When Pete Alonso was red hot and carrying his team from April and May, the pitching was the best in baseball. Juan Soto in June is red hot numbers wise, so to speak, right? The pitching has been one of the worst in baseball. So, it correlates as a problem where this team can't put everything together, pitching and offense at the same time. How long we talked about this? For years, we talked about this, regardless of who's in the roster. Doesn't matter. When the offense is red hot, 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 the pitching is mediocre. When the pitching is red hot, the offense is nowhere to be found. Like, we either winning games 7-5 or we're losing games 3-2. Like, this has been the ongoing problem with this team. And because they had a great red hot start for the first month and a half, almost 2 months, that it protected them on how bad they've played this month and why they're 11 games up. Because if they played average or a little bit above average, we'd be well under 500 right now. Like, that start saved them. And again, you give credit to the pitching staff that did their job for the first 2 months, but you need a pitching staff for the whole season, not the breakdown in the end of June. We haven't even got to the All-Star break yet. I'm glad everybody's voting for the All-Stars for the Mets. Congratulations. You're playing like shit.
I actually reluctantly voted today.
Damn you, heck. I want our guys to rest.
I think the thing overall,
let me say something. Oh, my bad.
Consistency. The consistency just, really for the last couple of years, we've always said when they hit, they don't pitch. When they pitch, they don't hit. And, early this year, I mean, the amount of ball games that were won, the save situations. So someone could do the research if they want, but the Mets won a lot of close games in the beginning of the season. Same for the second half last year. I mean, this is supposedly a good offense, sure, when everyone gets hot at the same time, but we haven't seen it. So that's why it's been a mediocre offensive showing when it comes to runs, but the pitching is the one that gets the job done. And, the thing that really annoys me is that, everyone makes you say, oh, injuries. Look at the Dodgers. They have the most injuries in baseball. They've used the most pitchers in baseball this season. What's their record? I think they have the best record in baseball, right? Either them or the Tigers. I mean, I saw them play a couple times in Miami past month. They threw out guys I've never heard of. Landon Knack, who? I mean, Tony Gonsolin's pitching like Cy Young. I mean, their whole rotation is like nobody's. But Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, they all hit. They all hit at the same, and not individually, they all hit at once. Shohei gets on base, Freddie Freeman drives him in, Max Muncy drives him in, Will Smith gets them in. So it goes to show you is, Dodgers have a rotation of nobodies because, they're all hurt, but then their offense is electric. And I'm sorry, they do have the best offense in baseball. That's just how it is.
But they
want to say it's the Mets. I disagree with that because 6 through 9.
They pay for that lineup. They pay for that lineup. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
because they're 6 through 9, their number 9 hitter gets hits with 2 outs and runs to scoring position. Our number 9 hitter swing. Oh, back to the dugout.
And that's the frustrating part too, is the way we're losing these games, right? Yeah. Like, okay, the pitching, the injury, all that, we keep talking about it, yes, and we don't want to ignore it. That is very important. Like Rob said, it's a matter of circumstance. Yes, Juan Soto's having a great June, and when Pete was having his good time, we were getting better pitching. It was giving Pete a chance to be a hero. At the same time,
looking off the Dodgers, they win.
Not once throughout this stretch, you can say, man, at least the offense won that game, At least the offense won that game. 10-9, 10-8. Like, what's one of those? Give me a couple of those. And it's a little bit easier to deal with this. You know what I'm saying? Yep. But no, the team goes down 3-0, game over.
Yep.
4-0, game over. So that's the frustrating part. If we were losing these games, but we were still scoring runs, we were still scoring 5-6 runs a game, but damn it, even the pitching's so bad that even the Pirates, one of the worst offensive teams in the game, is scoring 9 runs, But we're losing 9-7. I can say, you know what? It's the pitching. We just got to figure out this pitching and we'll be fine. But it's not. It's the pitching. It's the hitting. It's the hitting runners scoring position. It's the defense. It's the base running.
Yeah.
It's like 2023, right? You know, I think it was that series in Colorado. We lost like 11-10 one game. You know, it's one thing if, you know, you're out, you know, your pitching goes out there, gets lit up, and then your offense battles back. But our pitching getting lit up, they're having these huge innings that they've been talking about, you know, where they'll give up 6-7 runs. And then the offense, you know, Luis Torrens will hit a miracle home run, and it's like, woo, whoop-de-doo. You know,
well, you know what?
It's frustrating. And, you know, yeah, I'll suck off the Dodgers, sure, because they're a successful team. They've won a World Series. You could say 2. You know, hate to be all negative on the Mets. I was looking online at teams that have a championship drought. Mets were pretty high on that list. 1986, right? 23 years old. I was born 2002. Every single team in the NL East minus the Mets have won a World Series. The Marlins in 2003, Phillies in 08, and then most recently the Nationals and Braves in 19 and 21. And it comes to a point where Mets fans deserve a ring. Mets fans want, you know, a lot of Mets fans. I mean, Rob, you guys go to Citi Field more often. I don't live in New York for the last couple of years, but a lot of the Mets fan base is on the younger side, right? So maybe under 30, you know, born in 21st century, maybe the late 90s. So they haven't really seen success. So, I mean, I understand Mets fans' frustrations, and they want, you know, a successful ball club. You know, when Steve Cohen took over, he said East Coast Dodgers.
He did.
He did.
Well, Haiti, you know, you talk about that, right? When it comes to like 86 and all that. I was born in 87. All right. I just gave my age. Sorry to hear that. I know I'm old. I'm getting there. But I was born in 87. My dad was a young yippersnapper going to, you know, the nosebleeds at Shea Stadium. And, you know, it was obvious that I was conceived probably sometime right after the Mets won the World Series. So, you know, like, it's a long time ago. And this is what, like, guys like my dad, like Hector, guys that's been there, done that, seen the shit show, seen the high times, the low times, the middle ground, the unnecessary seasons where they just never showed up at all, right? It's the younger generation and the older generation that are frustrated now because, again, I was born in 87. I haven't seen a championship. I've seen 2 World Series appearances. One, we got embarrassed by the Yankees, and Kansas City kind of mopped us on the floor too. And both times we kind of made very bad mistakes in those World Series that cost us early in the series that could probably cost us the series, right? And, you know, that's the only World Series I've seen. I've seen a lot of bad losses in the playoffs, you know, coming from the Braves, you know, from the Dodgers, you know, just in general. The fact of the matter is, when is there going to be an owner? When is there going to be a GM that says, this is what we need to do? We got to win, right? The statues are cute. All these new light effects at Citi Field are beautiful. They're fun. You know, the great food options at Citi Field. But when is it ultimately going to matter on the field? Because that's all that matters, right?
Citi Field was the best food in baseball.
Yeah. I go to games because I love it, right? Me and Hector are fools, right? We'll go when they're the worst team in baseball. We'll go when they're the best team in baseball. Doesn't matter, right? We love baseball so much. We love the Mets so much. We will show up. I was there many times prior to moving out of New York. I was there, and there was nobody in the ballpark, freezing my ass off. Why am I there all day? I don't know. Freezing my ass off. I'm there to the 9th inning, even if we're losing 7-1. I'm there. Why is that? Because we love the team. But the way you get fans that are, I would say, fringe fans, you know, fans that, you know, could live or, you know, they won't live or die with this team. If the Mets lose,
casuals.
Casual fans, right? How do you get those to become diehards, to become, you know, more frequent fans and frequent fans of these teams, of the Mets or anybody else? You start winning championships, right? The Mets have had a hard time. And everybody's talking about, oh, you know, it's hard to get the younger fans into baseball. Winning gets young fans into baseball. There's this younger generation wants to see winners, right? That's why you see LeBron jerseys everywhere. You know, back in the early 2000s, you've seen the Kobe jerseys, right? None of them are from LA, but they're all fans of the Lakers. Why? Why is all the Lakers fans here? You win.
So one interesting thing is, not to get too personal, but I'm originally from New York. I've moved to Florida about 5 years ago, towards the end of 2020. And when I first moved down here, I don't think anyone knew what hockey was. Like, if I showed them a picture of like Wayne Gretzky, they'd be like, Gertz, they wouldn't know. All I see is Florida Panthers, Lightning. That's all I see. For the 5 years I've been down here, every single Stanley Cup has featured the Lightning or the Panthers. And, they split, 2-2. And then I think the Avalanche won that in between year. So, bandwagon, whatever.
Sure.
But it goes to show winning solves everything. Winning will get people involved.
People like to be involved with winning, man. People like to be involved with winning. So
Yeah,
you're gonna draw fans. People gotta come out for sure.
Listen. Sure. I say this all the time. Why did the Yankees get 40,000 every night? Why is that? Why? Because everybody just loves to go to Yankee Stadium. It's not a great ballpark to go to. Let's be honest. What amenities do they have that is even close to Citi Field when it comes to anything, right? The food's better at Citi Field. You walk through tunnels. You're banging across cement at Yankee Stadium, right? That's what it is. It's a cement block. It's not a good stadium at all. Now it's kind of cool, when you sit down and say it's a nice view of the boogie down, technically, but the fact of the matter is that Citi Field's a better ballpark. And I talk about this all the time, why people go to Yankee Stadium, right? It's obviously a little bit quicker from Manhattan and all that fun stuff. But, maybe when the amenities come around Citi Field, there'll be more people, the casino, the restaurants, the bars and all that. Maybe that will bring in a lot of people just to say, hey, it's $5 to get a ticket at Citi Field. Let's just go to the game after we get drunk, at a bar. Maybe that's the case, right? You got Billy's, you got a couple of the restaurants, bars there and stuff like that. And it brings people there. To drink a little bit on the cheap end before they go into the stadium. But we all know this. The 90s, the late 90s, the mid 90s to the late 90s brought the fans because they won. It brought up a new generation of fans because kids like winners, right? I'm not sure why I became a Met fan. Oh yeah, my dad, I forgot, right? That dummy made me a Met fan. All right. He took me to games. I watched games, right? I was at the first Mike Piazza game. I was 11 or whatever it was, right? It's that, like, unless you're brought into it from a family member to be on to root for a team that's really not a winner, because they were terrible in the early 90s. Terrible. When I really got into it. The Carlos Baergas, the Ray Ordonez is in the late 90s, early, mid 90s to the late 90s, those type of guys. Like, that's what I grew up around. They weren't really good teams until the late 90s. So I was going around, the Bernard Gilkeys of the world, the Butch Huskies. Like, that's the guys I remember. They were terrible. Generation K, like, that is the stuff that I remember. They were never good when I was really young. But if you're a family member that brings you up into a team, and then you start to develop to like it. It's not really about winning at that point. It's like, what player do you like, the team and stuff like that, going to games. Shea Stadium was much closer to me, living wise and proximity. So we went there. My dad was always a Met fan, right? But if you're a kid that maybe your parents aren't big baseball fans, but they're football fans, hockey fans, whatever, but you like baseball, who's gravitating to the Mets? Unless your family or somebody that you're close to brings you into the team and the stadium and all that stuff. You're gonna go for a winner, right? Why do you see people just go in general, any city you're at, any state you're at? If there's winning in proximity, you're gonna see more of those jerseys. Look at basketball.
Yeah.
Right? Look at basketball. Walk around New York. How many jerseys do you? All right, the Knicks are a little bit better now, so you're going to see more Brunson jerseys and all that craziness. But before that, when they were bad for 20 years, when did you see a Knicks jersey? You were seeing the Lakers. You were seeing the Cavaliers with LeBron, Miami, all other teams. You know why? Because they won and they have big stars and they won. It's a huge difference. So the fact of the matter is, to throw this all into perspective here and to finish it up, this is the time for Stearns, as I said in my video earlier, to put on the big boy pants. You got the prospects. You got the money. You got the team that expected to be a contender. There's no excuse anymore to not do anything. You need pitching? Go get good pitching. Not a fourth starter, not a fifth starter. Top 2, top 3 starter, even top 1 if you want to go that crazy. High leverage reliever? Go get him. There's about 100 out there that are probably going to be available. You need a center fielder? There's probably 3 that are out there right now that you can probably get. Do it. Hector, final thoughts.
My final thoughts are going to be actually responding to a couple of comments here because sometimes I don't think people understand. So the first one that I just saw last is George. George, we're not here telling you that Steve Cohen is a bad owner, that David Stearns is a bad president, that this is a team that's going nowhere. Now, if they continue to play the way they're going nowhere. But I don't think sometimes people understand when you're doing what we're doing, we're trying to give you the real, man. We're trying to give you the real. We're trying to tell you about what's going on right now, how we feel about what's going on right now, and what we see right now. I'm not saying that we're right, that we're always going to be right, whatever. It is our opinion. But don't get it twisted. Tomorrow, 7 p.m., Rob, Hayden, myself, we're going to be right there. Whether it be in front of the TV, whether it be me at the stadium, rooting this team on. We believe in this team. That's the frustrating part. We think this team can be better, even with the flaws. I said it earlier. I thought this team had learned how to win. I thought this team had leadership. I thought this was a 27-out Mets continuing from last season. They were for a couple of months early on in the season. Not anymore. Not right now. Now they're nothing close to that. So don't tell us, come on, that you still believe like if we don't, or that we're giving up, or that this is a good owner and a good president, and this, because we're right there with you. But David Stern still has to show us something.
Yep.
And to my guy M Easy, who says my hatred for Juan Soto oozes out. You know what I hate? I hate people going nuts for stuff that doesn't mean anything. I hate when I ask more from a player that can give me more, and people want to throw numbers at me as if they don't watch the games. So yeah, I guess I hate Juan Soto the same way that I hated Francisco Lindor, which you accused me of hating too, right? Because anybody I criticize is because I hate them. That's not a me problem. That's a you problem. But it's always going to be let's go Mets. No matter what the hell you guys want to interpret.
Hayden, final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, great stream as always with you guys. Thanks for everyone who listened, commented, liked, all that great stuff. But yeah, right now that's been a rough stretch. Obviously, that can easily change. Who knows? Maybe next stream we'll be talking about a great hot streak, which I would love. I'll be tomorrow 7:10 or whatever time. Yeah, 7:10. It's a home game. I'll be sitting here watching the game, MLB TV. I'll be watching Mets Brewers. Just win. Simply enough. Hold down the line. Everyone needs to contribute. I mean, I don't know what was discussed at that team meeting. I don't know if they went over their Permani's order or if it was just one-word answers, but people need to step up. Everyone talks about these captains and leaders, and step up and prove it. I want to see, right, we talk about this 27-out Met, fight till the 9th inning, fight. It's not over till it's over. I want to see that. I want to see my team play good. So, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But tomorrow, new series, obviously. Glenn Holmes, Peralta. I mean, the pitching matchups are going to be something, but hopefully the offense is going to need to do their part. They're going to be home. I'd like to say it should be crowded at the ballpark. I don't see why it wouldn't. So it's going to be crowded. So it's going to be loud on either two ends. It's going to be positive loud or negative loud. And yeah, I guess I could be a Dodgers lover because they win. I mean, yeah, they win. Something the Mets haven't done since 1986. So yeah, sure. They're a good team. I mean, they have the best player in baseball. I mean, if that makes me a Dodgers lover, go for it. I guess I'm a Dodgers lover. I mean, like, come on, dude. Mets couldn't even win
You got 12 games to the All-Star break.
Yeah, just point is,
go
hold down the line to the All-Star break. Go into the second.
I won't change.
Hold down the line to the All-Star break.
You know what I'm saying? How we'll do a different stream whenever we do another stream.
Yep.
Now go 3-9, 4-8, and you're gonna get some more of this. It's on them.
Yep.
The team is gonna dictate how we feel. I'm not gonna give them blind love, blind faith. I mean, we do that already. But you gotta give me something, damn it. Give me something.
Show like they want to be there. That would be nice.
Show up. 15 ain't it?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's going to be okay. Oh, they're trying. I don't do that. I'm honest. If they're playing like shit, I'm going to say they suck. I don't say, oh, but he hit 30 home runs, or oh, he hit 318 in the month of June. I don't care about personal awards. I mean, I used to be into that all-star hitting 50 home runs. Honestly, there's only one award I care about, and it's the World Series. I don't care about a wild card. I don't care about whatever. I mean, like,
the World Series. It doesn't mean you don't enjoy that along the way, and you put it in perspective. And if it leads to a good season, you enjoy it even more. But I'm not putting that's what I meant before. I'm not gonna put individual success over the team like some fans do, so they can talk trash to the Yankee fans, so they can talk trash to Michael K. I don't care for that stuff. You want that? There's plenty of people to do it. More power to them. I mess with a lot of those people.
Well, heck,
but that's not me.
Yeah, well,
that's
heck,
not me.
You want?
They started 9-2, Rob. 9-2. We started in June. What did we finish? 12-15. What does that mean? Do the math. That's 3-13. That's terrible baseball.
Yeah, I agree. Well, heck, this is the thing. You know how you shut up fans that we don't like, and that goes for Philly fans, Brave fans, Yankee fans, Michael K. You win. You win a World Series. Nobody can say anything.
Look at the 1986 Mets. All I hear about. That's all I hear about on the broadcast. Gary, Heath, and Ron, they love those guys. That's all they talk about is the 1986 Mets. Yeah. Oh, my Jesus Christ. We're talking almost 40, 50 years ago. That's all they talk about is the 1986 Mets. Those guys are considered gods and legends. Win a World Series, and all the guys on that roster will be considered that for the foreseeable future. Everyone talks about Darryl Strawberry, Tom Seaver, Doc Gooden, whatever. That's going to be the same case for Pete Alonso, Juan Soto, Jeff McNeil. But in 30, 40 years from now, if you don't win a World Series, they're going to say, oh, yeah, Pete Alonso. Yeah, I remember that dude. Look at Mike Trout and the Angels. I just win a World Series. At the end of the day, hold down the fort to the All-Star break, win some baseball games, get more help at the trade deadline, win the National League East or get in the wild card, get in the damn playoffs, and win the freaking World Series. That's all I'm asking for. Just do that, and we'll call it a day. I don't want to see the Dodgers win. I don't want to see the Braves win. I don't want to see the Phillies. I'm tired of those teams running the show. The Mets are running the show.
Win the World Series, and everything will be forgotten, right? The past won't matter. The shit June won't matter. That's it. Just win. I want to thank Hector. I want to thank Hayden for hanging out with me today and, making our big rants on Mets Talk Live here on the channel. Obviously, we face the Brewers at home. The Mets are 28-12 at home. That's the only good thing I could say about that. Will they show up? I don't know. Will they pitch well? I don't know. But guess what? 7-10 will be turning on the game tomorrow and hoping for Holmes to pitch well and the offense to come alive. And because the Brewers are red hot right now. They're playing very well. They got that young pitcher, Mizorowski, that should be a phenom, and he looks really good so far. Quintana, well, he's a bulldog. We know all about him. So the Mets got to find a way to win. I don't care how you win. Offense, pitching, bolt, win the ball games. Win a series. How about winning the series, right? I'm not asking for a sweep. Look like you want to be there. The fans are going to show up. Cohen asked them to show up. They're showing up this year. They're 28-12 at home. Act like you want to be there because you had a player meeting and you got your ass whooped the next day. Like you were already on the goddamn plane back to New York. Get the job done. Do your job. Limit the mistakes. Leaders, captains, whoever, step up. You talk your mouth full in the meetings. Now talk with your bat. Talk with the pitches on the mound. Do your job. Right the ship. Figure it out. You're 11 games over 500. You're only a game and a half out of first place. Thank God the Phillies haven't been red hot. You got lucky. Fix it. Get the job done. There's no more excuses anymore. I don't care about the injuries. Next man up. If you don't do your job, you're going to get the fuck out of here and let somebody else do it. Blackburn can't do it. Bring up Tong. If somebody else can't do it, bring up McLean. Somebody's got to step up here. Until somebody steps up that are making the money they're making, that goes for Lindor, Nimmo, Alonso, Soto, making all this money. Prove that you deserve that money. Do your job. Right? I know you're frustrated. I know it sucks. But there's nobody to blame but yourself. Don't blame me. Don't blame Hayden. Don't blame Hector. Don't blame the fans. Don't, Lindor trying to protect the coaches. We're not blaming the coaches. You're taking the at-bats. You're on the mound. It's your fault. You're making errors. You're swinging at terrible pitches. You can't hit with runners in scoring position. Get the job done. The moral of the story, get the job done. And we hope they start that tomorrow with Holmes and Peralta against the Brewers back home. With that said, guys, thank you for tuning in with myself, Hector, and Hayden. Mets Talk Live here. Obviously, the Mets play a game tomorrow, probably a pregame. And if these guys are going to have shows, obviously just subscribe to their channels and make sure you follow them on X. And they'll definitely tell you if they're doing shows. Heck, you're doing the show later tonight, right?
Yeah, Eddie and I are doing the Mets Talk Unfiltered at 8 p.m. So that's why I'm going to go have a little bit of dinner and then get ready for that.
There you go.
But yeah, man, and then I pop up whenever. Like last night, I just decided I had to do a blog post. I haven't done one in a while. So I had to do my own thing just because sometimes I need to vent uninterrupted.
I understand that. All right, guys.
Man. Thanks for having me, Rob. Let's go, Mets. Can I just say one thing totally off the wall? The Knicks make me sick too, bro. Mike Brown, what are we gonna do? Trade for LeBron James? Man,
they're gonna get LeBron James. I'm telling you.
I'm about to stop watching sports. I'm about to give up my fandom, and these teams keep doing this to me, man. Let's go, Mets, baby.
There you go, guys.
My guy, see you at 8 o'clock. Let's argue over there too.
There you go, guys. Mets Talk Live right here. Subscribe, hit that like button, all that fun stuff. Tune in to Hector on 8 o'clock. Have a good night, guys. Let's go Mets, and let's hope for a win tomorrow, guys. Have a good night.
Peace.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets.